Krishna Prabhupada ki Jai. So, morning everyone, welcome. Nice to be here with you. On the auspicious occasion of the honoring of the Guru Parampara, this is the idea of the Vyasa Puja. And then of course our particular Guru is in the Guru Parampara as well. And so the Vyasa Puja is the puja. Puja means worship, and that means Vyas. So Vyasa is in one respect the Adi Guru, or the original Guru of all the lineages. And why? Because he is the legendary author of all the sacred texts. And if that doesn't make sense to you, then you're in the wrong place. Because our faith in Guru, which is the illuminating influence that enables us to find our guide, to find Krishna locally, so to speak, in a way that he comes to us more so than in any other manner. Such faith that is the bond between Guru and disciple, that is the very life of anyone, for that matter. They are their faith, as the Gita says, Shraddhayam Purushaha, person is their faith. So this is the idea of divine faith, to have a divine life. This is what faith is about. Faith is, again, as I said the other night, that which animates the world. Suspicion leads to suspension. So suspended animation, that we don't want. We want to move freely, and we can move freely in the homeland, in the heart, when faith in Sri Guru is established. This is what gives us eligibility to tread the path, veritable path of faith, leading to planets of faith, and all this implies the removal of doubt, which is what is causing some hesitation, some suspension, suspending our animation, not allowing us to move freely. Proceeding we are with caution. Intelligence is the doubter, if you will. That has its advantages and has its disadvantages. We should doubt in its capacity to be comprehensive in terms of a guide for ourselves being constituted of something that's ontologically different and in every way superior to intelligence itself. So how can intelligence alone be the guide of something that is vastly and categorically inferior to? That should be removed. Doubt as to reason's efficacy and place on the altar. But this faith, then, that is what this bond between Guru and disciple is about. This faith that enables us to tread the path and so forth. It's obviously not an absence of reason, but it picks up where reason leaves off. And it derives from, the sacred texts. In other words, the Guru, following Vyasa, the author of the sacred text, the editor, the compiler, and so forth. The Guru, in the succession, the parampara, one after another, represents the lineage and does so by way of citing the sacred texts in answering the doubts of the students. He, in other words, references a body of knowledge that is considered to be conclusive with regard to arriving at comprehensive knowledge, which means that by which we can become fully happy. It doesn't mean knowledge of how to make jet planes or cell phones necessarily, but perfect knowledge is by which we can, that knowledge that informs action, as all knowledge does, as all actions are informed by knowledge, that knowledge that informs a particular type of action by which we will become fully satisfied. This is perfect knowledge. This is the perfect knowledge that we're all looking for, how to be perfectly happy. So the idea is that that doesn't come from the world, from nature. Only indirectly it comes from nature, I should say. But and it's an uncommon type of a knowledge. Here we have to go to another point of reference. This is what the sacred texts then are said to be, revealed sound, revealed knowledge. It's revealed and would seem that, logically speaking, it should be such. In other words, if it is perfect knowledge that we're after, we should not look for it within the sphere, the realm, the circle of imperfection in which we presently find ourselves. We have to look beyond that somehow. But, as we heard this morning, how can we look beyond that in our pursuit of perfection, imperfect as we are, and surrounded by imperfect means of knowing? So, the logical necessity for intervention, and therefore the word, revelation, for that matter, with regard to Scripture. For perfect knowing, to arrive at perfect knowing, we need a perfect method. So again, it cannot arise out of imperfection. It has to come from its own side. If perfection wants itself to be known to the imperfect, out of its own, this is its prerogative, and it does so. And this prominent form of that is then the revelation of the sacred texts, which is like, sometimes we say, the mother, Veda Mata. Mother knows everything. Mother is always right, something like that. So, you got that, Rishikesh? So,
Mother knows best.
Mother knows best, right? Mother knows best. So Veda Mata. And in this marriage, the mother and the father, the Veda and the Guru, so to speak, there's no difference. There's no arguing here. There's no divorce. They cannot divorce the Guru from the sacred texts. He is or she is dutifully bound to represent them accurately and dynamically also. With insight as to the implications of them, the far-reaching implications of them, in all time and all circumstance. There's a class of people today who think that that there shouldn't be a successor, for example, to my Guru Maharaj, because he was so great. This misses a very gross misunderstanding of what his greatness is constituted of in many respects. But they have no scripture to support their kind of concocted idea of how the succession should go on, with no real tangible succession, freezing time, if you will. The only scriptural support they marshal to support this concoction is the idea that the Guru's words are scripture and transcendent scripture, which isn't obviously found in scripture, although there is some truth to it. Some truth to it. There is some truth. It's a slippery slope, obviously, because if it's true in the full sense of the term, that the Guru's words are scripture, then we're in trouble, because whatever any Guru says, we're left with that. The Guru has said it. There's no standard of knowledge to refer to. And there we are, really adrift, so to speak. So there's some truth to that, but to understand it entirely. If we do, then this idea that they have is proven to be a bad one. What I mean by that is that there's some truth to it. It means that there is some truth the Guru may speak in ways that are not apparently in the scripture. By way of seeking to shed light on, explain the essential meaning, the spirit of the law. He may speak about the spirit of the law and appear to be contradicting the letter of the law, but demonstrates artfully, of course, that that's not the case. And also, the Guru may speak about details and change details, but he cannot change the principles. So, these people, just as an aside here, we're talking about, they have an idea that Prabhupada spoke something which he didn't speak. That's another thing. They think that he did, and they think that it was that he would be the guru for forever, and there would be no more gurus in the Gaudiya Sampradaya. That's how it started out. Then they restricted it to his particular mission as it became. The idea became obviously troublesome and problematic and hard to support. At any rate, this, they said then, is the Guru has the ability to do such things, to change details. In other words, they want to emphasize the point that there's some dynamism to the Guru. They cited adjustments that Prabhupada's Guru Bhaktisiddhanta made in the Sampradaya that gave it more life and made it more accessible to the public in modern times and so forth, helped to take it across the oceans and through the medium of our Prabhupada, his disciple, primarily, to a large extent. So they want to speak about the idea that the Guru has this kind of dynamism. And of course, that's true, but if the dynamism of innovation, if you will, and the altering of details for the sake of delivering the principle uproots the principle, then we're in great difficulty. And the principle is that when there is a spiritual vacuum or a spiritual necessity, then Krishna says in the Gita, evam parampara praptam. I've arranged this system that another one will follow. The spiritual vacuum comes, if you will, at the time of the disappearance of the Guru. Of course, that's only an appearance. There's only an appearance of a spiritual vacuum. That's why we say the appearance and disappearance, it's the same, really. Disappearing here, appearing somewhere else. But disappearing here, appearing somewhere else means appearing in our own midst, actually. Hopefully, appearing in our own heart. In a deeper sense, the disappearance of the Guru gives us the opportunity to grow, to think, to reflect on the teachings and so forth. And potentially it also affords the opportunity to find further guidance in a plurality of gurus, which brings into focus some relativity that surrounds the absoluteness of the Guru. Disconcerting, but very illuminating, actually. Without this, you don't have much chance to grow, actually. And to be the kind of person that the Guru really embodies for us as a prospect, as an ideal. So, anyway, my point is they've done away with the Guru Parampara in the name of an adjustment, a detail, a dynamism. But the very Guru Parampara is what provides us the opportunity for dynamism, because it means another is coming who will make new adjustments in new time. So if we do away with the prospect of another one coming, then the opportunity, the idea of a dynamic guru, the necessity of that, the value of that, and so forth is all lost. You follow? So not a good idea, a bad idea. Therefore, by and large, the emphasis is that the guru will speak according to the Shastra. There is a standard of knowledge. So we honor the guru Vyasa Puja on this day. The worship of Vyasa means the worship of the whole Guru Parampara, of course not at the exclusion of our particular guru and guide. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to hold this kind of ceremony once a year on the appearance day of himself. His disciples would gather, they would offer some homage and so forth, that he would speak, and so the tradition has been carried on. And it's a larger tradition throughout all the different spiritual disciplines of India, wherein this Vyasa Puja, if you will, is often celebrated on what's called the Guru Purnima. It comes in the summer. Just to bring it home for us a little bit, our Sanatana Goswami, who in many ways is the architect of our lineage, direct associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, appeared on the Guru Purnima, disappeared on the Guru Purnima. What a loss, we think. That day in Vrindavan, everybody, man, woman, and child, shaved their head because he was known as, what is it? Muni Baba, shaved-headed Baba. And so everyone he was so dear to the inhabitants that it is said that even the thieves would come to him for advice to sort out quarrels amongst themselves. And he would give advice to them on the level that they sought it. While at the same time penning books like Brihad Bhagavatamrita and his commentary on the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, his work in Hari Bhakti Vilas and other texts, which are very profound theological contributions to the lineage and to the religious, theistic, the spiritual community at large in the world. So he was at any rate, very dear to everyone, and the evidence of this, without thinking, they all shaved their heads to say we're with him, something like that. That occurs on the Guru Purnima. We honor him on that day. But that is another, anyway, the Guru Purnima form of this Vyasa Puja, honoring Vyas, in this respect, the Adi Guru. There's other ways in which we speak about it, and we'll hear about it from the text we're going to discuss today, that Krishna is the Adi Guru. Of course, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas, his name is. Vyas means compiler, but this is a particular compiler of the shabda, of the sound. Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas. He's considered to be a particular type of avatar of Krishna, Shaktya Avesh avatar, empowered with the Avesh of the Godhead. In this case, there are different types of empowerment. Avesh means empowerment. Gyan Avesh, empowered with knowledge. The knowledge of the sacred text, which includes, of course, knowledge of Bhagavan and the form of the Godhead, his leelas, and pastimes, and so on and so forth. So we honor him, and he's the author of the text, and so we honor the Guru who speaks according to the text, and one who says this, that, and the other thing and cannot support it from the texts is not given so much serious consideration and is thought to be making it up as he or she goes along, so to speak. But the reference to the text, as I say, is nonetheless dynamic, and so there is some scope for adjusting details to deliver the principle, but we cannot do away with the principle. In the name of being dynamic, we cannot, in the name of what the Guru speaks as Shastra, we cannot say accept what he said that trumps the Shastra altogether. It does away with the principle, and for all intents and purposes, the Guru Parampara, and the prospect of any dynamism by way of adjusting time, and according to time and circumstances, adjusting details in the future. So, we honor Vyasa means we honor the texts, the sacred texts that he authors. We honor the Guru then who comes in a succession that articulates a worldview that is supported by the text. And Gaudiya Vaishnavism is one such lineage. There are other Vaishnava lineages, and there are other non-Vaishnava lineages in all of the sacred schools of India, but all of them agree with this, that are worth their salt, so to speak, agree with this principle. It used to be that without a commentary on the sutras of Vyasa, Brahma Sutras, sometimes called Vedanta Sutra, then you didn't have a lineage, so to speak. If you could mount such a commentary in a manner that you were able to collect the faith of others, you've got a Guru Parampara, you've got a lineage, something like that. So, you're honoring the Vyasa Puja, and in this regard I wanted to read a little bit from the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Guru Tattva is described, and speak from a few verses that the author, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, cites to explain something about the Guru, something that he feels is important. This comes at the very onset of the book. In fact, it is a commentary. These verses are part of a commentary on the very first two words of the whole text, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Chaitanya Charitamrita means Chaitanya, consciousness, Chait, character, Amrit, immortal nectar. So the immortal nectar of the character of consciousness. Very interesting idea, because many schools, all of whom honor Vyasa in the sacred texts, as I mentioned, limit their discussion about this subject that must be answered outside of nature, that nature can only indirectly speak about. The subject is us, consciousness, the subjective side, as I said last night and I've said before, the why am I, the existential crisis that consciousness in human dress experiences. Why am I? So, say you're leaving home, you're living on your own. It's funny how it feels when you know that life is real. Those first moments when you think, I better do it myself. Hope it works. But when you understand how big the task really is, you think, I can't do it by myself. To get by in terms of my material necessities, to an extent, I can fight that out, and I will lose. That's for sure. For some time you may survive, but you will lose the battle in the struggle for material existence, to exist materially as you know yourself, as you think yourself to be. Ayurharati Vaipam Sam. Ujjanastam Jayana. So the Bhagavatam says it in a loud way. It's a beautiful verse out on the side. What could speak more loudly to us than the rising and the setting of the sun? If it didn't rise tomorrow, that would be big news. If it didn't set tonight, neither the world would either. But every day it rises and sets, or so it appears, as we move around in circles ourselves. And the rising and the setting of the sun, Ayurharati. This is the metaphorical, poetic Kal Chakra, the wheel of time, moving across the horizon, across the sky. And what is it doing? Ayurharati, Vaipumsam, and no one is excluded. At first it says, no one is excluded. Ayurharati, Vaipumsam. All people, their life, Ayurharati, is being taken away by the rising and the setting of the sun. So you will not survive that. You may struggle, and struggle hard, and to some extent be successful for some time, at the cost of others' survival. We have to kill to live. We have to learn to die to live. This is a very different lesson. You can understand. You have to get that message somewhere else. That instruction you have to get somewhere else, because material nature tells us you have to kill to live. You have to kill to live. Jiva jiva sijimanam. One living being is food for another. This is a Darwinian perspective in some respects, to which there's considerable truth. One living being is food for another, the Bhagavatam says. But it doesn't stop there. So nature is teaching us, in a sense, we have to kill to live. We should scratch our heads and think, is that a good idea? We do. We're human beings. There's something happening to us that's different than consciousness in less complex forms of life. We find there's a place for kindness. I don't fit. It doesn't fit with nature. When Darwin looked at nature and the way he saw it, he lost all appreciation for aesthetics and poetry and feeling and ostensibly, arguably caring. I don't mean to make him out to be but he cared enough to look into it, but this is as far as he looked, and it washed away the prospects of caring and meaning. And some mean people have jumped on that and tried to just ram that down in fruits as if this is the meaning. There is no meaning. There is no ontologically rooted morality even. There's no real reason. There is no good, there is no bad. These kind of ideas. There is maybe some truth in that. That is another thing. In transcendence. You see, everyone is speaking the truth to one extent or another. You just have to turn it a little bit. Turn it a little bit. I won't go into that, but no, we think that as Vedantists, there is a good, relatively speaking, there is a bad. And there is a place for kindness, and it's us. It's why we feel uncomfortable as human beings. Why should we feel uncomfortable as the lords of nature, in a sense? You understand? I mean, we have a great capacity to control over the less complex forms of life. We manipulate nature in so many ways. And we're pursuing that and having successes in that. We're led to believe that we're just perhaps on the verge of conquering the whole thing. We are the gods. We can change the nature of nature. Something like that. The very thing that they deny, that there couldn't be a God that could change nature because it has its laws, nonetheless they're trying to change it. Within the context of the laws, perhaps, to change the way it moves, and they may think. But the reason that we are somewhat uncomfortable in human life, despite our sitting on the throne, if you will, of nature. Nature has provided us a throne here. Fingers. So we can think that we are. There may be consciousness here or there, but we don't find self-consciousness. You see. Of course, then the reason that is an illusion also, but nonetheless, there's a pride in us. We're at the top of the ladder, it's thought, but we're still uncomfortable there. Hmm? We're uncomfortable because we're actually a unit of kindness. Hmm? Actually, we have some sensibility that we have some experience of ourself in human life. That the self has a potential to give. It's a unit of giving capacity. Hmm? It needs but to find the right object to repose itself in. Hmm? So Bhagavatam wants to go further and talk about this side of ourselves. And therefore it makes an exception. While it says you cannot be successful in this struggle for existence, Ayur Harati Vaipumsam, the sun is saying, this rising and setting, your life is being taken away. We don't listen to that. But Bhagavatam goes on to say in the same verse, Tasyartya Nitya Uttama Shloka Vartaya. Harati Uttama Shloka. Harati means Ayur Harati, being taken away. Harati, stolen away. The word Hari comes from the same root. It's a name for God. He takes away. His name comes at the end of this verse, Uttama Shloka. He takes away. How does he take away? Not like nature takes away. In a very harsh way, nature is taking away our life. Uttama Shloka, in a very different way, is taking away our life. Rupa Goswami describes this Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloka means beautiful poetry. Uttam, supreme shloka, like poetry, supremely poetic. He says, Rupa Goswami, don't go to the banks of the Jamuna, where Krishna is standing there in his threefold bending form, playing on his flute, adorned with a peacock feather. Because if you go there and you see him, you'll never be able to return to the small world of your so-called friends and enemies and things that are dear to you and so forth. He'll take them all away in a very different way than nature is taking away. And in a more profound way, he will take away. Nature will take away our life, but will not take away that which is causing us to have another life and to remain within our grip again and again. But the Uttam Shloka, the poetry of the Bhagavatam, in which he appears before the Rasikas, who find him in the poetry, he's manifest there. In a charming way, he takes away their life. And for that person, the rising and the setting of the sun has no bearing. So such persons, this is the kind of sun that we want. This kind of association that we may learn to apply ourselves to the answer to the question of life that comes not from nature, but from the subjective world, from the world of consciousness. Now, most schools, as I'm saying, if you follow me, say, let us move from matter to consciousness. But this book we're going to get to here, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, as I said, it speaks about the immortal, the immortal and nectarian character of consciousness. The nectarian character of consciousness in immortality. That's much more than in a name of a book that should make us think, whoa, it's not just talking about consciousness being different from matter. That's a big thing, that you are different from matter, that nature cannot be your comprehensive guide. She can be a good guide, no doubt. Rising and setting of the sun is a pretty loud statement, but how to listen to that and see what nature is telling us. Nature's promoted us, so to speak, through some type of evolution of consciousness-driven evolution, to the human life. Here we are at the top of the ladder, and nature is telling us you're nothing. It doesn't matter. If you come to the top of the ladder, I can send you back to the bottom again. Whatever you've attained materially is nothing, but human life is valuable to attain materially as much as you use it for pursuing the transcendence of human life. By pursuing wholeheartedly the existential question, and concluding logically that my existential question, which is a question of consciousness, cannot be answered by the objective world, natural world, matter, unless consciousness is matter. But there's no good support for that. The two things that are very different in character, diametrically opposed in character, are the same. And the old world and the present world and the world to come will always be, to one extent or another, and I would say to a larger extent than not, preoccupied with this idea and sensibility that consciousness has more meaning, more value than things, that there's a difference between the two. Really, and it's true, if you look back in history, civilizations, there's two ways that civilizations have started. One, by cows, and two, by gurus, saints. This is the root of real civilizations, the world's great civilizations. We're not going to get away from this idea. Why should we? It's ourself. This is the perennial philosophy that I think, term coined by Leibniz and popularized by Huxley. It won't go away. So to turn then from the objective world, from matter, whatever, it's only indirectly teaching us. You've risen to the top, still, see, you're not comfortable. There's Durga with a pitchfork poking us. Just see. She says, go to Krishna. Go to Radha Krishna. Go to Krishna. I myself, Durga, am a manifestation of Radha. She says it, I say the same thing. I'm doing it a little indirectly because of who you are. That's all. The way you've been behaving against your self-interest. Sometimes the correctives have to be a little forceful. Spare not the, spoil the child, spare the rod, something like that. It's an old saying. There's a little truth to it. Sometimes it would be abused, I'm sure. I had experience of that. But in an indirect way, and to some extent, but for the full teaching, the comprehensive teaching that can consume us and give us explicit and ongoing direction, particulars and so forth. This we have to turn to the world of consciousness itself to learn about consciousness. This is what the sacred text is about, and the Guru is representing that. It's to move under the guidance of the Guru in a systematic way towards our prospect. So here we find a book, Chaitanya Charit Amrit, as I said. It doesn't speak only about the difference between consciousness and matter, which is very profound in and of itself, right? But it wants to speak about the nature, the character of consciousness in immortality. It seeks to say, in other words, by the very name of the book, that consciousness has a life. It's not just the stopping, if you will, of the oppression of material nature. That is, to stop that would be a relief, no doubt. But is that the sum and substance of the experience of consciousness? And it has a negative connotation. I've arrived at something that's not that. Well, what is it? It's not that. It's not that. It's not dying. It's not old age, disease, and dying and rebirth. It's not that. It's not that. And we're pressed to say, "What are you ever going to talk about what it is?" It's beyond words. I can't talk about it. This book is talking about it. It has a different idea. It says, yes, it's beyond words. And therefore there is not enough that we can say about it. The Amrit. Amrit means Amrit. Mrit means Mrityum, death. Amrityum, deathless. And Amrit means nectar. It is said that there's a juice, an elixir, drank by the gods, soma. It gives them their long life. That it's described as being so long in the text that it looks like it's like forever. Oh well, that's a long time. Okay, I'll go with it. Hundreds and millions of years, and I won't have to worry about it ever ending. That's too long. I'll probably die before it ends anyway. Something like that. This kind of confusion and pursuing such a life, the heavenly life as it's thought, as opposed to the spiritual life. But all that is just to say, it all ends. However good you could make it in your head, it's going to come to an end. You have to go outside of your head, if you will, to get to your heart. You have to go outside of that. And the head is speaking loudly to us. We get ahead. In human life, we get ahead. I don't mean to really get ahead. I mean we get ahead. We get both, two types of heads. We get ahead. We get ahead. We can... It's confusing. We need a few heads to be... You get ahead. The first person is depicted as four-headed. So, Brahma. So, the descendants of Brahma. So, you get ahead in human life. You get to think about things, and it's big, it's fat. You get a fat head. It speaks very loudly, and it speaks so loudly that the heart can't be heard. The head makes a wedding relationship with the senses, and then it starts to reason how to gratify them. That what makes us a big animal. Animals are trying to fulfill their basic sensual needs, and they haven't got the same head that we do. Should we use our head just for the same thing? That is a big animal. Or could the head be used for something else? Could the head be used to bring out the heart? That it's there in everybody. Like I said, even thieves want to divide the loot honestly, fairly. Even thieves want to give in charity, the mafias to somebody, for example. No, we should use the head to soften the heart, to let the heart come out. But this is difficult. So, Guru is for this. We're going to hear speaking so loud that our head is drowned out enough that we can start to hear the heart. The heart can start to beat. We can have a real life, a life that's really different than any other life form we've experienced. Categorically different. Becomes a heart-driven life. It means a giving life rather than a life that's, as I said, that we kill in order to live, we take in order to live, an exploiting life. A giving life, living and giving and thereby living. It's very different. He says it's a very different kind of life than any other form of life. But to put our head in place, so to speak, this is not the difference really between human life and animal life that we have the power to reason. That is a difference. But there's a bigger difference, is that we have the capacity to love, to do things voluntarily, in a big way, to give. And that actually tends to contradict the head, because the head would tell us if you give, you end up with less. But the experience is that many times it is, we end up with more. More of what? Not necessarily things. Maybe subtle things, like the praise of others. But if we really give, we aren't interested in that either. We're getting something more than that. And the fact that we get it, we are getting something more of that is evidenced in that those who actually give, without expectation of getting, in praise of themselves, are able to find their own faults. So getting is something very kind of intangible from a material vantage point, but something profound that I don't have to take, and I become a living vessel of giving myself. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, in its onset, wants to talk about that, how to quiet the head and hear the heart. That, and in a profound way, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that we may come to know about the immortal, let's say, character of consciousness, Amrit, its ending of death, and its nectar. It's not the nectar of the gods that they drink that gives them a long life like that, but it actually gives one immortality. Immortality, but gives us access to the immortal character of consciousness, the life of consciousness, the positive aspect of immortality, not just, as I said earlier, what it's not, what it is. And this, of course, ultimately, of course, comes to Leela, and now a movement that looks similar but categorically different in the movement of material life, a movement out of fullness rather than out of emptiness, a movement of giving rather than a movement based on the need to take and fend off and defend oneself and so forth. This kind of fearful life, beyond fear, no exploitation, no taking. This is a very artful and beautiful kind of movement. And deep, deep within that movement, we find Krishna Leela. There's Ram Leela, Narayan Leela, this Leela, that Leela, and then Krishna Leela. And deep, deep, deep within Krishna Leela, as far as you can go. If you look at Krishna, you see Krishna. Look closer, the Gaudiya say. What do you see? Look closer. Think about this. Now what do you see? I see Radha. You see Radha and Krishna? Yes. Look again. You see Radha and Krishna? Yes. Again. Do you see Radha and Krishna? No, I only see Radha. No. Krishna's moving even to the background. Look again, what do you see? Again. We look again, we find the one became two. Amongst the two, one started to take precedence. The love of Krishna started to take precedence over Krishna, and as I looked in that direction, then the two became one in Chaitanya. If you look at Krishna Leela, if you look at Krishna, first glance you find him, then you see Radha Krishna. Then you keep looking carefully, you see, oh, the prominence of Radha. She's, in one sense, the guru of Krishna, so on and so forth. The supremacy of bhakti, of love. And then we find, look again, and suddenly it's become as Chaitanya. Radha Bhava Duti Sulitam Nomi Krishna Surupam. Don't think for a minute that this idea that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God is some type of stretch of the sacred texts. We'll get to that tomorrow. The Goswamis are so profoundly, so powerfully pointed this out as undeniable conclusion. If you get their argument about Krishna in the first place, which is also a very good argument, to say the least. So, Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is the book. Of course, we have the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tomorrow that we're celebrating. But this book begins with the words Vande Gurun, so it offers respect to the Guru, the very first two words of the book on the immortal nectar character of consciousness. Vande Gurun, and Gurun is in the plural, so there's a plurality of gurus that Krishna's Kaviraj wants us to enter into, which makes for the possibility of our understanding the absolute and the relative nature of the Guru. Both sides, very important, very interesting. He restricts himself here in the text in terms of speaking of a plurality of guru to two types of gurus, the initiating guru and the instructing guru, the diksha and the siksha gurus. There are other types of gurus as well. There may be the sannyas guru. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had many gurus. He had his diksha guru, Ishwar Puri. He had a sannyas guru, Keshav Bharati. He had his Ragmar guru, Kibovi Prokibanashi Shutrakanina, Jai Krishna Tattveta, say Guru I. This is his pranam to Ramananda, his Ragmar guru. Jai Krishna Tattveta, Kibovi Prokibanashi Shutrakanina, Jai Krishna Tattveta, Jai Krishna Tattveta. It gets very plural now. Jai Krishna Tattveta, say Guru I. He says, it doesn't matter. Ramananda was, of course, from ostensibly a lower class in the Hindu class structures of society. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was from the higher, but he was taking instructions from him. He said, it doesn't matter. He says, I'm spiritual. Whether it's a man or a woman, black or white, Sudra, a Brahmin, a warrior, it has no bearing on me. If that person knows Krishna, that person is my guru. I go there. If the person knows Krishna, then I'm at his feet. I'm at her feet. If she's older than me, younger than me, fatter, thinner, it doesn't make any difference. More beautiful, ugly. This is beauty. He wants to take it to a whole other level. A spiritual idea of guru. So, in the context of finding his guru, his Rag Guru, he found a guru everywhere. Whoever could help me with my problem. My longing for Krishna. He was at such a point. Longing for Krishna. Whoever could help me with that. This is obviously a culture of respect for others. He is the one who taught. Amanina Mahadina. Kirtaniya Sadahari. And if we move to respect others, expect no honor for yourself. When you have developed such a longing for Krishna that he speaks later on in Shikshastakam, Ayinanda Tanuja Kingaram, Patitam, Vishameva Bangada, Kripaya Tava Palapankaja, Stituduli Sadhisham Gachinitaya, Nanangala Shuddhaya. I'm helpless. All I can do is cry. He's saying. My hairs are standing on end. How can I go in public like that? Look at me. I'm a mess. I'm needy. When one becomes so needy, the whole world is answering to the cause. Nature stands up and looks at that and thinks, oh my God. So needy he is. So needy she is for my own source. I become servant to that. The environment starts to work then. In favor, it's a favorable wind. This sense in nature then becomes the guru in a prominent sense. He can learn lessons profound lessons about himself, even from nature, who's subordinate to consciousness. Now, seeing consciousness come out in the full with this kind of yearning for union with a dynamic union in love with God, she's also served. So, Vande Guru, a plurality of gurus. As I say, here in the beginning he restricts himself to speaking about two types of guru, the Diksha and the Siksha Guru. But as we see, as I'm citing here later on in the text, the plurality of gurus is very much played out in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And of course, it's not at the cost of the respect of any of them. Why? And this is the main point he wants to make in his text here. Guru is one. What? He just said there were many. And now you say there's one. I guess we have to get used to this kind of thing. Apparent contradictions. The Guru is one, appearing in many forms. So he wants to make this point here. He wants to make the point that the Guru is Krishna. He resides in the heart. We're so enamored by our fat head that we've gotten in human life that we stop listening to our heart. In the beginning, the head wasn't so fat, so as a child, the heart was coming out more. We were prepared to express our neediness without any problem. We would cry and run to a stranger for help. But the head grew and the heart shrunk. Something like that. This is the problem. Guru's in the heart. He says, actually, I should say, he speaks of three gurus. The Diksha Guru, the Siksha Guru, and the Chaita Guru. The Chaita Guru makes the Diksha and Siksha Guru one. Chaita means consciousness. It means, in a broadest sense, our own conscience. That voice that speaks to us when our mind says, do this, and our senses call us to do that. And that voice that says, but it's not good for you. It's not the right thing to do. It's not the kind way to be. It's hard for us to listen to that. Especially when no one else is, it seems. There's the culture, and so we're driven towards animality rather than towards what our humanity affords us. So he says, this Chaita Guru, this is in the heart, he says, but out of his infinite kindness, he comes outside of the heart and stands before us as the Mahant, Sadhu. And he performs the function of Diksha and Siksha. Diksha means to impart the wisdom. It's a transmission of Divya Gyan, transcendental knowledge, in the form of a mantra. Then the Siksha is the instructions, how to unfold the package, how to open the package. He's given it, it's a gift, so it's gift wrapped. Very nicely. And the Siksha has to come, you get the packet, how to figure this thing out. Oh look, they gave me this, how does it work? And we open the book, and those are always harder to read, and they're troublesome, you want to skip to it, no, don't skip over that. The Diksha without Siksha, oh, it's like a boat without a captain. And some people say, well, therefore Siksha is more important, so who needs Diksha? But Siksha without Diksha, like a captain without a boat. Not a good idea. We need both. Of course, one manifestation of Guru can function in both capacities, and of course, for the most part, does. But there can at the same time be a plurality of manifestations of Guru who give us Siksha over the course of our spiritual progress. Therefore, the Siksha Guru tends to be more of a plurality, dealing with instruction, which is varied, and which are numerous. And the Diksha tends to be singular, one Diksha Guru, because there's one mantra to give. Maybe a couple, but it's given once, and it's given and you've got it. No need to get it again if you've got it from the right guru, but there's a need for what it's all about to unfold through hearing good instruction that will enable us to pursue a course by which that mantra will unfold itself in the context of really using the gift, if you will, to chant the mantra. Pay attention to that and so forth. And there are things that we can do that help us to pay attention, understand the importance of doing it and so forth. Corner us, so to speak, with so much instruction like, this is the most important thing. I know it doesn't look like it. You sit there and you just, do nothing, it seems, but no, this is the big thing. Hearing, chanting, so forth. So, the Chaita Guru, Guru in the heart, it means the homeland is in the heart there. That's there. Has to be excavated. The heart has to be opened, explored. There are many things in there that have to come out. Krishna's there, deeply buried in there, under so many other things. And the connection, he comes outside, speaks to us louder than our head, and turns us in the direction of our heart and our prospect. He gives the mantra, and what is the mantra? The form of God. And tells you something about the form. We're talking about forms of God. The teaching is, the mantra is the form of the deity. Nard, in our Bhagavatam discourses we heard recently, Nard gave the mantra to Vyasa that he himself had received. And he said, the mantra is the form of the deity. So don't think that Krishna's form is something material. And that form that corresponds with the mantra, that is a more substantial form than our material form. So the proper chanting of the mantra, he appears in the mantra, and in a particular way also. Relative to our prospect, our potential, and so forth. Arranged by Krishna. Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lataveja. Krishna sends the Guru. Who can argue with him? Your choice. Is it your choice? Krishna sends the Guru. And what does he do? Even before we can choose, he's engaging us. That is called Agyata Sukriti. Without our knowing, Bhagavan, through the form of the Guru, is taking us in the direction of bhakti. Does Krishna not know what he wants, what service he might want to accept from us in eternity? There may be some destiny. It's possible to think about it like that, of the soul. But upon contact with the Swarup Shakti of bhakti, causes it to respond in a particular way, and have a particular relationship with Bhagavan, or to not have a relationship. Depends how you respond to that opportunity of bhakti. So some determination perhaps, and some will on our part. Compatibilist position between determination and free will is the position of Baladev Vijayabhushan, great Vedanta, Gaudiya Vedanta commentator on the sutras. But here we put some emphasis on the other side. Krishna sends the Guru, and the Guru forcefully comes. It speaks louder than our head. We had many thoughts in the head, what would be our prospect, who we are in life, how we would dominate and rise above, and so forth. And humbling us, taking us off the throne, so to speak. And just allowing the heart to come out. So he says the Chaita Guru is there, but he mercifully manifests outside as the sadhu to give us diksha and siksha that we may be able to hear him. We can't hear him in the heart. We're not listening to our heart. If we listen to our heart, we know we have a necessity. That's thought to be a bad thing, I suppose. Or we listen a little bit, so we know we have a necessity, and we try to solve it with our head. But this necessity is big; it's huge, as I said. So the Guru is for this. So this is the overarching point that Krishnadas Kaviraj wants to make at the onset of his Chaitanya Charitamrita, that the Guru is Krishna. We need Krishna. We need God in our life to make a comprehensive solution to our predicament. And even though he's in the heart, just coming out in human life, we're not listening, so he comes as the Guru. If you could listen, I suppose you could say that you wouldn't need a Guru. But because to think you're such an exception, you'd be a fathead. That is a theoretical, yes, I suppose it could be possible, but not in you, sir. Definitely not. You're demonstrating that yourself. So, then what he does, Krishnadas Kaviraj, he explains this idea. He wants to say that the Guru is not a foreign imposition upon us. It's natural. It's our heart, so to speak, it's prospect coming before us to exemplify and what we could be, and instruct how we could become such. Chart the course and provide the favorable winds of good instruction and so forth. And so, in order to support his point, then he wants to cite from the sacred texts. So he cites 9 verses from the sacred text. As I said at the beginning, right? The Guru is not just makes it up as he goes along, but there's a body of knowledge, this revealed knowledge that he is wedded to, so to speak. So Vedamata. So he agrees with the mother. He cites the scripture to support his point here. That what? There's a plurality of gurus, and the Guru is one. The Guru is Krishna. He comes into the world in a number of manifestations. We have technical terms for some of them: the Diksha, the Siksha, the Vartma, Pradarshaka, this, that. And ultimately it becomes very, very broad and non-technical. The more of a student, that is to say, that we become, the more we're finding teachers everywhere, saying the same thing. So unity and diversity at the same time. There's one and different at the same time. The message in principle is the same, the details may be different. So stay tuned. And so, Sri Vyasa Puja ki Jai, Jai Guru Vaishnava Guru Parampara ki Jai, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai, Sri Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai, Sri Gaur Kishore Das Babji Maharaj ki Jai, Sri Kerala Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai, Sri Rup Sanatani Bhakti Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopal Das Raghunath Goswami ki Jai, Sri Gaur Nityananda ki Jai, Sri Pancha Tattva ki Jai, Sri Krishna Balaram ki Jai, Sri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai, Sri Radha Govind ki Jai, Sri Radha Gopinath ki Jai, Sri Vrindavaneshwari Radhe ki Jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Vibhav Mamusavititi ki Jai, Mamusavititi ki Jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Gaur Maharaj ki Jai.